Let's talk about sibilance. Those annoying sounds that happen sometimes when you sing or speak S's or TH's or CH's. A lot of high-end information, which is especially problematic if you want to get a lot of presence in those vocals. I'll show you multiple ways to deal with sibilance, including my favorite. I'm Keith from No Label, No Producer, No Limits.com. Let's hit it. So I'm here with a frequency analyzer on my voice. Let's take a look at what sibilance looks like. If I were to say 7, 7, and freeze that, you can see there's a peak here at 9,500 hertz and all the way across to a little under 5 kilohertz. So from 5 to 10, basically, we have this peak of frequencies. What about the SH consonant pairing? Share, sherry, shares, sherry. Here we have some different peaks. From 3K, and then at 6K, we have some stuff, not too bad, up here at 14.5K. And how about CH? My Chihuahua, Champ. We have here from 2.5K up to about 6K. We can have problems all the way from 2.5K up to above 10K. That's a very wide range, and it varies depending on what consonant or consonant pairing you are singing or saying. So what is the best way to deal with sibilance? Well, let me tell you. I think it's to manually edit. And I'll show you how to do that. I have a vocal here. Let's listen to the lead and harmony vocal. When she smiles, it feels like the sun. All that seems okay to me. The sun. And I'm alright. The future's bright with this one. That seems a little loud there. This one. Let's take a look at what sibilance looks like. It's these concentrated waveforms. So if we zoom in, you can see these are high frequencies. They move back and forth very quickly. And I'll give you a tip in terms of background vocals. You can pretty much take the S's and the CH's completely out and it sounds okay. So I'm going to make sure that snap is disabled. If snap is enabled, I can only select via the grid line. So I'm going to disable snap so I can accurately select just this sibilance section right there. And now I'm going to click on the item and hit Shift S. And that creates cuts right there on either side of the sibilance, and I can just grab, mouse over the top of the item, click, and draw down. So this is down, you can see right here, about 8 dB, but I could take it all the way down pretty much. And let's see if we have ruined or made it sound weird. With this one. Doesn't sound weird at all. And let's do the same thing on the top track. I'll select the sibilant area, click on the item, and then Shift S. And now we can draw this down. Let's try 6, 7 dB. With this one. Now you can hear there, it's starting to get a little lispy, and that's what you're listening for if you're dealing with sibilance. When it starts to get lispy, and I'll give you an example here by turning it down much further. It's bright with this one. You hear that lispiness there. With this one. That sounds pretty good to me. So that is one way to deal with it, and it's manual. However, we have to go through the whole track and do that. And I would recommend something. When you're working with sibilance, to me, it's one of the most difficult things on which to get perspective. It's really easy to focus in on just the sibilance, and that's all you hear, and then you turn it way down, and the next day you come back and it sounds like you're lisping. So pop a reference mix in. I've got a reference mix queued up here, something where you think the vocal sounds really good. Listen to it a little bit, listen to the level of the S's and CH's and T's compared to other high-end elements such as the cymbals. And then go back to your mix and work on the sibilance. It's the best way to maintain perspective. Another way to deal with it, and this deals with it more automatically, is with a de-esser. Let's take a look at this Spitfish de-esser, which I've used on occasion. And most de-essers work in a similar way. They have a listen mode, which allows you to listen to what they're filtering. So what we do is we engage listen, and we put an S in loop mode. Let me disengage it so you can hear it. It's very pleasant. We put it in listen mode and turn up the sense until we're getting some signal there, and sweep around for the loudest frequency. Seems pretty loud right there. Phase outs. So we've got it right about there, and we can turn up the depth to make it cut more, and then we can listen to it. Turn up the sensitivity, or sense, whatever it's called, a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to turn this on and off. Okay, so let's listen with this in and out.
This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one.
That's a little too much for me, so we could come down on the depth, or whatever this knob is, or a little both.
This one, this one, this one.
Now the object of this is to not be taking any high end off of the rest of the vocals, only taking high end off the places where the sibilance is out of control. So let us listen to the whole vocal and watch. This is the gain reduction section right here, and let's turn it to soft. That actually smooths out the transition a little bit. And watch to make sure that we're not triggering on any non-sibilant parts.
And I'm alright, the future's bright with this one.
Okay, that seems to be working just fine. Now, if you paid attention in the first part of the video, you could see that the frequencies for the S are different than the frequencies for the CH. So this Spitfish range is going to work better for some sibilants than for other sibilants. If you only have a problem with S's, you can set it and leave it alone, but probably doing it manually is going to do a little bit better job, but something like the Spitfish is going to be faster.
I just smile and say, I'll be there in no time. So I just smile and say, I'll be there in no time. I plan my getaway, gonna leave all this behind. No, I'm not gonna stay, gonna hit the road and feel the wind upon my face, my mind, instead of living this slow life. I just smile and say, I'll be there in no time.
Type home recording in the comments to get more information on the Home Recording Mentorship program. Let's take a look at another solution that I will quite often use. I like this better than a dedicated de-esser, and this is the Green Dynamic EQ from Toucan. And what I will sometimes do is create a high shelf. So what did we say that? Let me turn it up so I can see it. What did we say that frequency was? This is 2 kilohertz here. So if we set it for 2 kilohertz, it will start to cut at around 2.5, which is where our issue was. So I'm going to flatten this out again to 0 and turn on the dynamics section. And what we want to do is take this threshold by clicking on it and moving it around and adjusting it to where only the S's trigger it.
And I'm alright, the future's bright with this one.
That looks pretty good to me. Now this range is going to set the maximum amount we can boost our cut. So let's pull that down to about -8. That's our maximum range. And this is basically like a ratio control. This controls how severely it compresses after the signal goes over the threshold. And we'll set a fast attack and release here. And just see how this is working.
And I'm alright, the future's bright with this one. This one.
That sounds pretty good to me. So let's take a listen to just this section here with the Green Dynamic EQ on and off.
This one, this one, this one, this one, this one.
That's a little more natural. So what we're doing is taking a high shelf and just compressing everything, drawing down everything above about 2.5K. That works a little better for me than the dedicated de-essers, just because they home in on one set of frequency ranges, and I think this just takes the whole top end off. And as it's set now, it's not really taking the high end off the vocal for the rest of the time, only on the S's and the sibilant parts.
When she smiles, it feels like the sun, the sun. And I'm alright, the future's bright with this one.
Looks okay to me. Now, if you don't have Reaper, you won't be able to get the green dynamic EQ, but there's a plugin, free plugin, that does a great job, TDR Nova from Tokyo Don Lab. And this has a similar thing. So we can pull this band down to about 2K and turn on the threshold. And this may vary depending on the voice. That seems to be cutting a little bit low. And we'll set a threshold, and here's the ratio. I'm going to turn that up a little bit.
When she smiles, it feels like the sun.
You can see it here.
The sun. And I'm alright, the future's bright with this one.
The fastest way to get better at home recording is with a mentor. No, not with a Minotaur, a mentor. It's the way we all came up in the studio system back in the day. It's going to cut dozens of hours off of your learning curve, and it's going to drop your frustration dramatically. So if you're interested in home recording, I have a mentorship program. Just type home recording in the comments, and I'll send you more information. So that is how to deal with sibilance. We can cut on either side of the sibilance and manually adjust the clip gain. We can add a dedicated de-esser, or we can use something like a dynamic EQ. Since you're here on a video about how to process vocals, I've got another related video on my vocal chain coming up right about now. For now, I'm Keith from No Label, No Producer, No Limits.com. Bye-bye.